Here's a number that should make you angry. A teacher in Ohio makes $60,000 a year. She pays roughly $12,000 in taxes. That's 20% gone before she sees it. Now here's the billionaire sitting across from her in this split screen. $200 billion in wealth. Federal income tax reported, 0. Not a loophole, not a scam, perfectly legal. If your first reaction is that's impossible, that's exactly what they want you to think. Because the math you were taught in school, the math about earning more, saving more, working harder, it was designed to keep the middle class in place. And today, we're going to break it. By the end of this video, you will understand the buy, borrow, die strategy, the mathematical cheat code the top 0.01% use to live for free indefinitely without ever triggering a tax bill. Stay with me, because the weirdest part, it's not even complicated. Let's start with a lie you've been told your entire life. The lie is this: money equals income. You earn money, you pay taxes on it, and you keep what's left. That's the system you know. That's the system built for you. But wealthy people don't operate in that system. They live in the assets world. Here's the difference. Income is a river. It flows in, it flows out, and the government takes a cut every single time it moves. Wealth is a lake. It sits, it grows, and the IRS cannot tax what you don't sell. This is why Steve Jobs paid himself $1 a year. Not as a sacrifice, not for the story, as a tactical mathematical move. He didn't need a paycheck. He owned Apple stock. That stock grew, and unrealized gains on assets you haven't sold, are not taxable income. Same with Elon Musk, same with Jeff Bezos. The IRS can only tax you when you realize that gain, when you sell. So the first rule of billionaire math is simple: don't sell. But then how do they actually spend money? How do they buy yachts and private jets and $100 million homes if they never sell anything? This is where the glitch is. The answer is called an SBLC, a Securities-Backed Line of Credit. And once you understand this, you will never look at wealth the same way. Here's the setup. You own $500 million in Tesla stock. You need $50 million to buy a Gulfstream G700 and a penthouse in Miami. Option A, the option the middle class uses. Sell the stock, cash out. But wait, now you've realized the gain. The IRS shows up, you pay 20% capital gains tax. That's $10 million gone. Option B, the billionaire option, don't sell anything. Instead, you walk into a bank, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, pick one, and you say, I have $500 million in stock. I'd like to borrow $50 million against it. The bank says yes immediately. Option A, middle class math. Sell $50 million in stock, pay $10 million in tax, keep $40 million net. Option B, billionaire math. Borrow $50 million against stock, pay 0 tax, keep $50 million plus stock is still growing. The math doesn't lie. Borrowing is cheaper than selling by a factor of 10. And here's the kicker. The interest on that loan is sometimes 3 to 5%. If your stock is growing at 10% annually, you are making money while paying for the loan. The asset funds the debt. You pay nothing. You owe nothing to the IRS. Now, I know what you're thinking, but they still owe the bank money. They still have to pay the loan back eventually, right? Right. Except they don't. And this is where it gets truly bizarre. Stick with me until the 7-minute mark, because what I'm about to show you is the part that nobody talks about, the part that makes this system essentially permanent. Here's how billionaires pay back the loan. They don't. They die. And that's not dark humor. That's the literal mathematical strategy built into the US tax code. It's called the step-up and basis, and it's the final piece of the puzzle. Here's how it works. Let's say a billionaire bought stock at $1 per share in 1990. By 2024, that stock is worth $1,000 per share. Under normal rules, if they sold that stock, they'd owe capital gains on $999 per share. Massive tax bill. But if they die holding that stock, their heirs inherit it, and the cost basis, the starting price for tax purposes, resets to the current market value. The $999 gain, legally erased forever. The IRS gets nothing, the heirs get everything, and the loans get paid off from the estate with untaxed, stepped-up assets. Buy, borrow, die. That's it. That's the whole strategy, and it is 100% legal under current U.S. tax law. Now, contrast this with what the middle class does. You earn income. You pay income tax at 22 to 37%. You invest what's left. You eventually sell. You pay capital gains tax again. You die, and your heirs pay estate taxes. Taxed on the way in, taxed on the way out, taxed on the way through. That's not bad luck. That's not laziness. That's a system with two completely different rules, one for assets, one for income. And until you understand which game you're playing, you can't stop losing it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend you can run the buy, borrow, die strategy next Tuesday. You can't borrow $50 million against assets you don't have yet. But here's what you can do starting today. Stop falling for the middle-class math traps. Trap number 1, optimizing for income instead of assets. Income is taxed. Assets compound. Start thinking in assets, index funds, real estate, equity, not just paychecks. Trap number 2, panic selling during market downturns. Every time you sell, you realize a gain. You invite the IRS. Hold longer. Let the lake fill. Trap number 3, confusing earning more with keeping more. The wealthy don't just earn differently, they structure differently. Tax-advantaged accounts, long-term holds, and understanding what the IRS actually taxes. The math doesn't lie. The billionaires aren't smarter than you, they just learned a different set of rules that were never put on your syllabus. And now you know them. If this broke your brain the way it broke mine the first time, you need to watch our video on the loyalty tax, the hidden penalty the middle-class workers charges for being too responsible. Link is on screen right now. I'll see you there.